Hi, everybody. I'm Ambarish Mitra, founder and CEO of Blipper. For those of you who don't know what Blipper is, I'm not going to talk much about Blipper today, but in case you don't know, we are trying to build a visual browser using your phone's camera or any wearable device where you can point at anything in the physical world and it gives you content. You might ask me, like, why do we need that? We feel that the physical world hugely remains undiscovered, and why should just Chrome and Safari, where you already browse the internet today, be a limiting factor for your instant curiosity you might have when walking around? So today we are here to talk about building a sustainable world with artificial intelligence and computer vision. I'm going to focus on the computer vision side of artificial intelligence. AI is a very large field, and it's already being used in several aspects of life and incremental innovation. And my specialism in my career right now is hugely focused around CV. So let me give you some high-level definitions before we dive deep into what we perceive could really impact the world in general. So AI it's a learning engine, and it really derives the inspiration from the human brain itself. And in the field of computer vision, all kind of smartness was associated with really image recognition, which is still a very valid science. And to really have a large-scale impact, image recognition and image retrieval engines were not sustainable. Because to really recognize and find meaning out of the physical world, we need something smarter. And hence, artificial intelligence is heading towards a learning engine. What does a learning engine really mean? You know, when you were a kid and your mom or dad for the first time showed you that, son or daughter, this is a sofa, and you learned that that's a sofa. Maybe twice they told you this is a sofa when you were 2 or 3 years old. After that, you sat on probably 1 million combinations and designs of sofa in your life, and every time you knew that was a sofa, though they all looked very different. You were not doing image mapping in your head that, hey, let me go into my database and match this. This happens more on a day-to-day basis. So computers are also heading in that direction where we are trying to mimic the human eye. Because let's not forget, the human eye is the primary sensor in the human body. And 80 to 83% of cognition, knowledge, and learning comes from our eyes growing up. We understand our environment. And now AI is heading towards a field where machines will start to see. What does it look like when machines start to see today? This is what it looks like. This is a visual perception of computer vision, where a machine is looking at an environment, and it is in isolation, splitting everything in the world you're seeing. It is looking at the sky, at the cycles, at the road, but it's still not able to drive meaning out of it. It is able to split it, like how kids see the world, right? A 4 to 5-year-old, maybe 4 to 5-year-old is even more smart than that. But they see a lot of things in isolation, but what does the whole context mean? We're still not there, but maybe I'll give you some glimpse on the future a little later. So this is how computer sees. It almost sees everything like a classifier. So it splits everything apart, and it says this is that, and that is this, and all this happens in real time. And if we get a decent connection today, I'll give you a live demonstration. But the topic is these two blended technologies. Why are they so relevant? And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a very personal opinion. I feel that these two technologies would be one of the key drivers to really solve a lot of the world's bigger issues. Today, the population of the world is 7 billion, and often not acknowledged with all the growth in science and tech. One of the biggest issues we are facing that in 35 years or lesser, the population of the world is going to be 10 billion people. How do we, and what do we do to make the planet and its resources more sustainable, not alone through government policy and reducing emissions and stuff? Those are, of course, a lot of initiatives are already in place. But how do we make the world a more sustainable place using technology? And I'm a big believer that sometimes these innovations have to come from within the society, from the nucleus of the society, rather than top-down. And governments, of course, are very reactive, and once these technologies come and are blended in the everyday society, governments react to it. So I'm going to take you through certain ideas, which, of course, all of you are allowed to be inspired from and even build startups around it. This is very much individual pieces of research which several companies are endeavoring in, but it's to bring it all together for you. So knowledge parity, which I believe is the single biggest issue today in the planet to make a big difference. You know, the world is a very unequal place when it comes to knowledge distribution. It's almost like Manhattan. A lot of the privileged have access to a lot of information, and they're going through the whole education process and learning and getting a lot of privileged access to information and having better lives. Even though we feel, and particularly this crowd, and many people, almost 4 billion people in the world, we feel that, hey, we have a lot of information. Anything we need to know, we can know. But we forget that 1/7 of the world can't even read and write. And there's another 2/7 of the world which has very basic literacy. And then people like me and you, which belong to another 4/7 of the world. And even us, the privileged, we do not speak 10 to 12% vocabulary in any given language. And all of us have imagination, but remember that imagination and your vocabulary is often inversely proportional. So whether you're educated or not, a lot of people have thoughts, a lot of people have curiosity, but that curiosity is not manifested into the right knowledge available to you. So this is for you to go and think of it, that imagine if there is a system, and whatever the form factor of that system, it could be phones, could be other devices, because cost of devices are almost becoming like cost of potatoes. So imagine if you can look at anything and transcend the boundaries of literacy. You know, sometimes we think that governments, thinkers, Bill Melinda Gates Foundation and Clinton Initiative, everybody's thinking about this problem from a point of building schools and building teachers. But there aren't many teachers coming out, and the population continues to grow. And the schools, there's a very high capital asset, fixed price associated with it. The solutions need to be in a way where distribution of knowledge should be almost like air to us. And exactly like how human understands everything growing up, looking at stuff, there could be systems, because there would be nano cameras everywhere where you have a supercomputer, whatever shape or form that is, and you look at anything, and you ask any question looking at it, and you get information about it. It sounds very science fiction, but parts of this is reality in multiple labs around the world today. And let's not forget that many movements in the world has been technology-driven rather than socially driven. Not many people have written about this, but the fact is washing machines and microwave oven and dishwashers have done more for gender parity than many government policies or equality in workplace. People don't realize that these are big factors of engineering which were introduced in the society, which made men and women equal in a household and taking responsibility. So the message I'm trying to drive here, that let's not wait for this perfect world and blame the government or education and everything. There are solutions being brewed where you have to believe that we should look at ways to make our knowledge base of the human race almost like a human right, and accessibility to that knowledge could really be as simple as just looking at things. The next point is converting noise into meaning. This is something I can relate to. I mean, many of you don't know my personal story, but I grew up in a very small mining town in India with not really a privileged education. And at some point in my life, I spent some time in my teenage years in a slum in India, and I saw it firsthand that how extremely intelligent kids didn't have access to a lot of basic things we talk about. And we figured out that the age of 2 to 7 is the most important development years of a child, because that's the age not only the sponge of the brain is adapting to things, but also words. And words is what gives you vocabulary, and vocabulary which gives you understanding of the noise around you. Why does that learning of the word has to be driven by reading and writing? I mean, I could be too futuristic, but maybe we won't be even like writing stuff in another 15 years' time as in we do today. We're already using so much visual communications, and there would be computers where we will not need to write or type anything. We'll speak to machines. So there's a lot of work that could be done in particularly absolute infant education, because after 7 or 10, whatever the circumstances in your life are, whether you're extremely poor or middle class or rich, you are more ready for the planet. And that's why they've got such amazing examples of self-made billionaires. Healthcare. There's great stuff being done in precision medicine. Today, you may not know, or you may know that every time we consume a medicine, we are a guinea pig, because it's not tested for you. It's tested on a 50% sample size of people. And if it works on that, there's a chance that it'll work on you. And what is happening is, of course, science of genomics has gone really forward. And I feel that computer vision and genomics, if they blend together, you, with your unique DNA sequence, you should be able to look at any food or any medicine in the world, and you just get 2 signals, red or green. You can easily know whether this is right for you or it's not right for you. And again, big pharmaceutical companies should be manufacturing drugs which is absolutely specific to a human DNA. So there's some great companies like Global Gene Corp working on this problem, where they're utilizing computer vision, but completely from a consumer point of view, that you look at the world, and we will feed you data, whether what you're looking at least in items of food, whether it's right for your body. But not only that, from a scanning and analysis point of view, computer vision can really expedite things, like a radiologist going through scans of X-rays, or a pharmacist. There's so many heavy knowledge-based stuff, or testing of all kind of testing associated with blood, urine, stool, etc. All that thing could be a lot more precise, and a lot could be expedited, because the already report shows the gap of patients to gap of doctors and nurses. It's becoming bigger. In America, it's like 1:23,000. This used to be 1:9,000 15 years ago. This is an obvious one. There's a lot of work already there. You're all aware of it, like driverless cars are making a big inroads into our society, and every 6 months we feel that there could be another one in 6 months they'll finally start seeing being used by everyday users or governments on our roads. But there's an opportunity here that driverless cars are really driven by the technology in the car, but there's an opportunity where an ecosystem of images from camera, images from CCTV, all the images along with the trackers on these vehicles could create a knowledge ecosystem to really make it work. Because what's not going to happen straight away, that you will not move like binary from manually driven human cars to driverless cars. There'll be like a 10-year transition into this. But for that transition, we need a lot of knowledge in between, and all of that knowledge is not in these cars. So even though theoretically one or two of them are on the road, there's a big amount of work to be done there, and computer vision and AI could play a big role in that. We see a lot of science fiction movies, security, but it's really, most of it's fake. Those of you who've seen Oceans 11, 12, 13, nothing like that happens in reality. These are very manually based cameras, more than 3,000 in any given casino or thousands in airports, but they're only seen by 15 to 20 security professionals with years of experience, which look at pattern data. They look at something, and their personal intelligence allows them to decide whether they should act or not. Where you can particularly look at any given feed in the world and create those patterns yourself, there should be a real-time streaming of whatever surveillance you're looking at. And security is a big loophole today, affects every society in the world. And AI and CV can have a really, really big impact in that. Majority of food produced in the world is still, and this is, again, there's a east and west divide in it, but if you just look at land mass, majority of food is still produced by unprivileged people in the world, particularly in South Asia, Africa, in Indian subcontinent. And they don't know what crop to grow in what season. There's a genuine lack of knowledge missing about recycling, environment, all those factors. And food in general is huge innovations happening to find alternatives to food, whether it's from plant extracts, but nevertheless, that's just few people. Nevertheless, 70% of the world is still eating what we produce every day. And there is a knowledge gap here, which we have to look for in the next 35 years to improve. Industry and manufacturing. This is live, already happening. A lot of AI is going into manufacturing. People are building glasses of self-training, and if a bunch of engineers walk into an electric plant, they can look at everything in the plant and self-teach themselves rather than someone having to handhold them. And you really learn, and it facilitates everyday training and everyday knowledge much faster. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to quickly cover this aging population. Self-help, not trying to scare you of cyborgs, but with increments in medication, we're going to have a lot of people who are getting very old. They're getting old, and they have very strong physical abilities, but the mind is still getting older. And this is a problem we will see, because there's still no cure of the aging human mind. There's a lot of cures for the aging human body. So robotics, big work happening particularly in China and Japan to create self-help robotics, which can help people and nurse people at home and support them in everyday decision making. So what I'll do now, I'm going to give you guys, I'll bring you back to current situation, and I'll give you guys a very short demo of what AI and computer vision looks like. And bear with me, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, use your imagination. So can I move on to the demo mode, please? I have. All right. So that's my phone. And what I'm going to show you is, this is real-time computer vision. which analyzes everything using your 4G connection. So I've not seen this environment on of any of these objects around me, but it'll show you the visual perception of a 6-year-old, 5 to 6-year-old. If they look at the world, how will they look at it? And it'll try and understand it. And it's difficult to explain with words, as I say. So let me show it to you. So when I start pointing it, you'll see a series of words coming out, and it's almost like someone trying to guess. Ignore the first one. It thinks this is a computer, and first it thought you guys are an aquarium. So it thinks it's technology audience, business people. There's a performance going on. Clearly, this room looks like a stage. There are many, many people, and could be even a school. It's completely trying to guess. And this is all happening out of our 3G, 4G connection in real time. And that's what AI does. Nothing of this is stored in the phone. That's why connectivity was required. And of course, there's not much going on over here to demonstrate you any further. So I brought the lunch at the speaker's room. So when I pointed at a random object which doesn't come in any shape or form, it immediately recognized this one as an apple and should recognize this one as a banana. And hopefully should recognize this one as a croissant. Now, also brought the salad, which hopefully I will not eat. It's been out for 20 minutes. But when I point it at this salad over here, it knows immediately it's a salad. It saw the tomato. It saw the onion. Let me hover over again. Other things in the salad here. Sees a group of veggies. It'll go a little more specific. It'll see the lettuce leaf, the fish. Let me see if it can get the strawberry. I know it's cut a bit, sliced half. There you go. It gets it. So you're getting an idea that just your phone's camera, which is only running at 30 frames per second, is already analyzing the world in real time. So that's what I wanted to show you guys today. Hope you found this useful. Thank you very much.